It's all the new stuff in there.
Right, stash of old stuff or new stuff?
New stuff.
New.
So, welcome to episode 2 of No Strings Attached podcast. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who's viewed our first one. We've had some brilliant comments. We really appreciate all the feedback and everything you've been saying and the ideas that some of you have come up with. So we'll take those forward and see where we go from there.
And this is a perfect time to ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social medias, and if you can like and comment, and if you do feel as though you'd like to share, please do. It helps us massively. It costs you nothing. We totally appreciate everything.
Yeah.
So,
much appreciated.
Can I just say, Mark, right, before we introduce our guest
Very
today,
special guest.
very, very special guest, I'm absolutely buzzing for this podcast.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time, since we, a week. So ever since we came up with the idea.
Well, I mean, the whole urethane debate has just exploded in the last
seems to, doesn't
7 to 10 days, hasn't it, really? So this is perfectly timed. And Mark, I think you should introduce our guest.
Certainly. So, everyone, we have taken a very short drive down to Kettering, and some of you will already realise we're at Bowling Vision, and we are very thankful and happy to be with Mr. Alex Hamilton.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you hosting us, Alex, and for your time.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
With the USBC survey that went out, I think about a week ago, 10 days ago, and all the furore that's gone on over the last however long, couple of 3 years, whatever it is, around the use of urethane bowling balls, we thought there's no one really better placed in England, perhaps. Yeah, I wouldn't say worldwide, eh?
No, definitely not.
But definitely
Available at short notice.
The first few weren't available, so you can't work right now.
we got down to 10th on the list. No.
Obviously, Alex, you are first choice because you are responsible for putting purple hammers and black hammers and not urethanes in the hands of all of the bowlers in the UK. So
Very much, yeah. Well, for the hammer brand, certainly.
Exactly. So, would you just like to tell us a little bit more, sort of a short synopsis over your role and what you do here at BB?
So I've been here almost 2 years now, which is pretty mad. It feels like I've only been here 10 minutes, but it started originally to be the consumer parts specialist, so focusing obviously on the pro shop stuff. When Shelley left and then Graham Waller retired, it left a bit of a hole in the team for who could kind of look after that side of the business. So Jack, very much out of the blue, approached me and asked me if I'd like to take that bit on. It felt like a perfect time for me, and I'm not allowed to say that it's my dream job, but it's certainly a job that suits my kind of bowling related background and all the different bits I've done. Not quite a year ago, got a promotion to be the operations manager. Distribution manager, sorry. Distribution manager, so oversee all too many jobs. So I oversee now the whole warehouse, so I oversee everything that goes out the door, from the pro shop stuff to centre supplies to centre parts, to the billiard stuff, shuffleboard, all the darts, which is a new bit we're doing, which we'll try and drop a little plug in at some point. But anything basically goes out the door here that gets sent to somebody, and now I kind of oversee the team of 6 to make sure that kind of runs smoothly.
Yeah, so Bowling Vision, you supply the leisure industry as well as what mainly our listeners would be more sport-based bowlers, but your Bowling Vision supplies, for those who don't realise, you supply the whole bowling industry, entertainment, leisure, sport facilities.
And a little bit outside of the bowling as well, because the competitive socialising is huge now. Companies like Lane 7 and Roxy with their smaller, well, not necessarily small, but they fit them into bars or old venues, old shops that have shut down, put in some lanes, some darts, some shuffleboard, pool, batting cages, axe throwing, all this different stuff that makes it a whole evening out rather than just going bowling like we would have been used to years ago.
Sure.
So yes, you're 100% correct, predominantly bowling, but there is a couple of odd ones that don't actually have anything to do with bowling that we still sell the odd can of shoe spray to, or shuffleboard wax or stuff like that. But and some dart supplies. But yes, predominantly anything to do. So obviously, my background is obviously pro shop and bowling, sport wise. But my skill set is having to diversify slightly to be able to get to grips with other bits that we do.
So you enjoyed the challenges it brings?
Yeah.
Enjoying
cool.
what you're doing?
Yeah. Still the pro shop side of things and dealing with the pro shops, talking to pro shops. When a vulnerable sells well, or you see someone bowl at high school, one of our brands of the 7, still gives me that nice little warm fuzzy feeling inside. But everything has to evolve. And
bit of a cheesy phrase, but once a bowler, always a bowler. I think
100%.
You never really leaves you, does it?
No,
you may not be in it, you may not be day to day in bowling, but I think it always hangs around.
Yeah, I'm not actually bowling myself anymore, but I'm still going to. Put down to Green to watch league and going to the odd tournament here and there
And you're always supporting the youth tournament.
Dealing with bowling inside that. But Tracy's my main point of contact. Tracy's brilliant. Like she's
Tracy Robertson.
So high energy with all the stuff she does with junior stuff.
Yeah,
so it's a delight to support someone. Same with anything. We try and support as much as we can. Just send the ball for a raffle. The YBC's doing something. If we can, we will.
I must admit,
it's a limited supply.
last bowlers club, my brother actually won the raffle, and he was like, "What shall I order?" I'm thinking about purple, and I was like, "Do it. Might be worth a fortune." So obviously, you're responsible. Bowling Vision responsible for distributing probably the greatest Urethane bowling balls of all time.
So certainly modern day versions of you can't really go much past the purple, can you?
No, I mean,
just as you mentioned it, you say modern day version. For those who may be younger or don't really know, what do you think is the main difference between current urethanes and the ones I played with and you played with?
I started with. They're definitely different. I know for fact because Rob Thirlby has got an original purple hammer, old school, would have been 90s, I suppose, a hammer, and
it was a solid version though, wasn't it?
It was solid,
version.
But that goes relatively straight compared to. So I'm guessing, and I don't know it's a fact, but I'm assuming it's to do with the base materials evolving a different base urethane. And maybe a little bit to do with the core dynamics. But these don't really have a massive core in them.
No, I think the core is as much a part of the overall joy of that bowling ball, and the reason people use it is because of the very low differential that means you have much more control of the ball.
The pink Black Widow version was essentially the same cover stock in pink with a much stronger core.
Cover.
That was good for a certain type of players, but still never caught fire as much as certain purple players.
Asymmetrical core with a much higher diff, so flared a lot more.
Designed for people that couldn't really get these to work.
And almost defeats the object of why this has proved so popular, because most people want the purple hammer because it gives them the feel of and the definite control down lane. And I think that's the thing. We might get into a bit more about that as we talk, I think. But I just want to step back a little bit. Just one, you mentioned that you're helping out the youth bowling in England with various things. You've been around a long time and you've seen how bowling's developed and been and
long time.
I won't stress that.
No,
I am older than you. So
not quite 40 years, but getting there. 38, I think. Started bowling when I was 7, so 45, so 38 years.
So brilliant. Well, actually, we've been probably around in it as long as each other, actually. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably 35, 36 years in.
Crikey.
Over 100 years of experience sat on this table. There we go.
Massive experience. So my question really, I just wanted to gauge your opinion. You're actively and helping, support youth bowling. That's brilliant, and it's appreciated, I'm sure, by everyone. Can you be as honest as possible and give us your opinion about where you see youth bowling, the current position we're in England?
I think it's the same as across all the age groups. It feels like a massive shame that when I was bowling YBC down at Airport Bowl on a Saturday morning, it was all 36 lanes, 30 lanes of league at trios pace. So that's like 90 kids.
Yeah.
And then the last 6 lanes with all the beginner lot starting. So over 100 kids every week. I mean, I think if you had a bunch of YBCs together, you wouldn't get anywhere near that. And I know Airport wasn't unique. So many centres had that.
We had a waiting list in Norwich of 100 kids waiting to get on. And we were 20 lanes trios with then the rest of the training lanes.
We were 26 lanes in Bitton, AMF Bitton and Southampton, same thing.
But you say all the old the Sheffields and the Portsmouths, all the classic Leeds centres would have had that and some. I mean, you hear of adult leagues. When I took over the shop at Bushbury, we told stories of a league there that was, I think Bushbury was 24 lanes, but it was a 26 lane league.
Yeah.
So if you drew on 25 and 26, you had the week off.
Yeah.
That's a 5-man team.
Yeah.
Mad. I mean, with Leeds and how big that was.
Yeah.
On their Friday night league as well was huge and known across the country. Yeah. For being an absolutely quality league.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think junior bowling has reflected that in scale. The nationals junior nationals used to be 1,200 kids and stuff playing going back years and stuff like that. Now, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are now, but
4 or 5 weekends.
Upstairs, downstairs at Nottingham, just packed, like unbelievable. So obviously it's smaller, but they're saying the whole, you go into any centre that still has leagues, which are again few and far between. They're all smaller. There's some places that are thriving. Shipley's great and packed out. I know Acock's Green on their nights when they're having leagues, and it changed slightly now. They're condensing the nights down under new ownership, but they're still having the leagues there. They'll be packed. They'll be filling the centre up. So it's there, but it's obviously just much smaller, isn't it? Much smaller. Which is a real shame because I mean, one of the best things I can remember in my bowling stuff was going away weekends for bowling tournaments up to Sunderland and stuff like that. Big check on the coach and stuff like that. So it's and now. All my regular friends are all met through some form of bowling. Whether it be through going to the World Champs with Thurbs and John Zadell, really getting cementing our friendship. Then we knew each other and that, but we weren't particularly mates for that. But spending 2 weeks away, Ben as well, John's younger brother, doesn't bowl, doesn't really bowl much. But the 4 of us, just had a quality time together, and the cement 7 friendships forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very common in bowling. The thing is, your business, relies on the social aspect of the venue of a bowling centre. But I think, it's one of the most social sports there is because we spend so much time not doing the game. Even when we're at a tournament or a league, you probably spend more time not bowling than you are bowling. So you're not going to sit there and say nothing, are you? You're going to.
I mean, this weekend on Saturday,
friendships and
had a barbecue around John Zadell's house. Rob Thirlby's there. Philly Banks was there. Laura Marcham, Dean Keeble. Paul Moore was supposed to be there. That weren't very well. But just the people that
you just know
have no right to be friends in any other thing apart from bowling because they're literally scattered across country. But yet we get together around someone's house for a barbecue and a couple of drinks. Or cool. Maybe more than a couple. But. So that I feel a little bit, and obviously my other half being the proper bowler in the family, she says the same. She says she doesn't feel like. I mean, she doesn't know it for fact, but what she feels is that the social side of it's gone a little bit because there's just not as many people. She's glad that she bowled in the time when she did, when she had such a social network of people and friends, and tournaments were so big, and even going into the adults and getting them. So that's a little bit of a shame that bowling's not quite the same.
Does she miss it at all?
I don't think so.
No.
She's too competitive. So if she couldn't just go and bowl league on a Tuesday night. She'd have to be practicing bowling, playing tournaments. Once bowled for England again. So it's kind of that.
It's all or nothing type.
When the boys were born, she went and done the Hampshire trials. I think she made the team, but then never played the tournament and never bowled again since. It was like one little spell of 6 weeks where she went for it, and then actually decided no, this isn't going to work. But, yeah,
Fair enough.
big shame. But
where do you think the standard of youth bowling is?
it's hard to gauge, isn't it? Because I remember growing up, whenever the next team for the EYCs was selected, it's like, it's not as good as last year. It's not as good last year. Last year they were really good last year, weren't they? They're really, really strong team. You had so and so and so and so. And then the new team gets together, they gel a little bit, they go to tournament, they go and win a load of medals. And you think, well, actually, it's just we don't know them yet.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit. I think again, you go generations. Can you really compare certain things? Like footballers and stuff like that. Going back to can you compare them to the current things? But there's definitely some amazing talent out there. Some fantastic bowlers.
Like, I think when we go back to like our generation of YBCs, there were so many more bowlers. So each club had 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 exceptional players per YBC, and now maybe 1 or 2 that are really special, and are going to be in the mix. Like for example, Frank Stevenson, Jess Sillis, Callum Peach, even he was Charlie Upton. Those types of players are so far apart in geographic locations.
Yeah.
So, now we've got a smaller pool of players and a smaller pool of.
So the top end is going to be a small amount, but I mean the people that are at the top have skills and they are competing. Yeah. I mean look at Ben Robinson. I know he's not quite a junior anymore, but still a young lad. Yeah. I mean we done our thing down at Norwich, down at Romford. Last year we had a camera there and done some interviews and loads of things that we were chopping up for our socials. And when Don was in it, Don having a little chat with him. I was going to say interview, it was a little chat. He said, "So I won. So you won your, I think it was his second or third event in Europe. You won your third event." No, Dom couldn't believe that in that such a short period of time he'd gone to Europe. Kind of went, I think he said I think he just made the cut, went back and then won the next one. You're like, what? Yeah. So you've been going for like 3 or 4 years in Europe. No, it's only the second year. Yeah. You're like, and you've won 3 already. Yeah. Like even Dom was baffled by that. So I mean, we've got this players.
We have some talent for sure. It's just a lot less in volume, isn't it?
The pool's smaller.
But I think for me, as a professional coach, call it what you want. I worry about standards of players and how do you get standard? How do you maintain standard? How do you push people? How do you make people realise that they need to achieve certain levels? And I think, somebody like Ben, clearly has some good people around him who understand what that is. Richie and Ray, who have played at very high levels, obviously, and so there's that standard. But does that get spread out to around the country? And maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think that we've got to somehow maintain standards and get, make people realise how good they need to be. Because I'm not saying it's easy to be the best in the country, but when there's less players, it's easier to be number one than it might have been if there's.
So easier to be one of the best in your centre, or like you're saying, best in your YBC is a less of an achievement.
And therefore, then once you start to go into bigger and bigger and bigger ponds, you might realise what it is. So.
I mean, for me, that feels a little bit like life and kids in general. Like I've got 3 boys, and they've all got their different personalities and different skill sets, but they're saying that Ollie and Toy both wanted to be professional footballers, and me and Nick were pretty nice. She said, "You got no chance, mate," and you haven't got any chance not because you haven't got the skills or you couldn't develop skills. You're not doing that. You're not in the back garden every night kicking a ball around. You're not going down the park with your mates playing every week. You're going to training once a week and a match once a week. You're not going to become professional, mate. They're just look, trust us. We know what it takes to get to a high level in a sport, whether it's a very different sport.
Yeah.
But I think generally, social media, PlayStations, all that sort of stuff has taken a big chunk of that kind of. I know, obviously, football's still huge, and other sports having their runs and whatever else. But I think that's probably going to affect any sport because they will see, it's easy to do that because they're doing it and they're showing off on social media. They don't see the Ronaldos and how he is the most professional person you're ever going to meet in the entire, like with everything he does. Yeah. Every thing that goes in his mouth is all calculated, and the training, the gym, Tiger Woods and his, I've seen a lot of things recently, especially with Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, with John Daly things, and John Daly sitting in the bar having a drink and whatever else, and saying, Tiger, come have a drink, I'm just going to go to the gym, I'm just going to go to the range, and he's still sitting there. It's just different levels, which is why Tiger is, I suppose it is the correct term now, but the GOAT.
You might not remember, I sent a message to Dom about a few years ago about something, and it just happened to be Boxing Day, and I just sent it because I was bored, and I thought I would respond in a few days. But he messaged me and he said, I'm just in the gym. I was like, yeah, okay. That's dedication,
Yeah, and Dom's not a particularly social media person. He puts some posts on here and there. He does his bit that he needs to kind of do to keep himself in the limelight. But the work he does that you don't see.
You don't see it,
Practicing hard, training hard. And he said to us when we've done some stuff, as he gets older, he knows he needs to do a bit more because he's not. You haven't got the advantage of youth and a little bit more flexibility and agility, and you've got to work at it even harder. And he certainly does.
The more social media the pros can put out there and show the work that goes on behind the tournament, it would be a good thing, because, like you say, I think there's so many more distractions for kids now. Just going out and kicking the ball around the park all day long, like I used to do.
I mean, my kids say to me all the time, "I'm bored." You don't know what bored is. No. You've got all this stuff that just you're bored of doing that one thing. So it is different. Kids are different, but hopefully, maybe the people in other sports, the Ronaldos and that, and let's say the social influence from some of the top players, which are posting loads of practice. I think Verity does an amazing. I think between Belmo and Verity, their social stuff is just next level. Belmo's whole business acumen about the whole thing of bowling is top level, but Verity's constant little clips of this, little clip of that, doing this, doing that,
and a lot of stuff that was behind the scenes, so to speak.
The training drill she's doing, and that's sort of thing that you hope that. I mean, when I was working before I started here, I was working in a school as a TA, and on Friday we had to do a club. Some sort of like afternoon, we called it a seminar-y kind of thing, but so I did bowling, but as in like the proper bowling, not. So we were lucky enough we had to tie up with Verity for one Friday afternoon. We had her on a Zoom call, and I mean the kids weren't really into it because they didn't love bowling as much as me and Verity did. But me and Verity had a nice chat, and the kids threw some curveball questions in. I mean we're talking 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, so they're not. They're not asking in-depth training regimes and dietary requirements and stuff like that, nutritional intake and stuff like that. But they asked some cool questions, and I opened for a small little place in Bedworth. I opened their eyes to the whole fact that there's a whole different side of bowling, showing them videos, showing how much money they've won, all this sort of stuff, and they opened their eyes up to it. But not, I think any of them are even going to bowl, but you do a little bit.
Maybe one of them, and that's all you need, and then maybe it's a numbers game, really.
Yeah.
But I think.
So let's get into the main.
We're just talking about urethane.
We'll just talk about urethane rather than the standard of youth bowling. We can tie it in very nicely with the tedious link.
I mean, to be fair, I think they are closely linked, aren't they?
Yeah. Anthony Simonsen, he put a wild comment out there, and I don't know whether it was tongue in cheek or not, or whether it was something like that.
Simon doesn't tend to post unless he's got something to say.
Yeah. He said maybe if we ban urethane, kids will learn how to bowl. Kids have zero touch these days.
Zero's harsh, but I get the sentiment. And even speaking to someone who's definitely not a kid, even Rob Thirlby, when the Purple Hammer was in play at Acots Green for League, and he's throwing that all the time, and goes to the tournament and plays Purple Hammer, brilliant. And then when he has to go and throw reactive, he has said he has to learn that touch back again just from a little bit of league. So there's definitely something in it when you're playing the same sort of shape and shot, just with a few adjustments here and there.
For those, Alex, or Tristan, for those who may not understand what we mean, what do we mean by touch?
There's them little bits and little adjustments you can make, the change of rotation, changing speed, the forward roll, getting your hand around it, the physical adjustments, the little tweaks and changes you can make yourself.
Manipulating the ball motion.
And that little bit more precision in hitting the spot rather than having a little bit more of a window to... So I think, for me, that's what that would feel would be, that kind of that touch and consistency and the adjustments you can make and have to make to try and make different reactive balls. Even though the weird thing is there's so many reactive bowling balls that you think, I'll just change ball to something else. But they're at Simon's level, especially, they're micro little fine adjustments and getting ahead of the changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, the ball itself is probably the easiest thing to get right. And then, they all have access to any ball they basically want.
And someone at the back helping them out as well a lot of the time.
They can drill up multiple, different layouts just to tweak reaction or whatever here and there, get that extra little 1% here and there. But then actually, once you've done the ball, everyone could do that. It's then down to your physical capability and your skill. And that's what sport should be at a high level. It should be down to physical skill.
Yeah,
not necessarily the equipment that you have, if everyone has access to it all. But I think we live in a very different era right now for bowling. 100%, 100%, let's not walk around the subject any longer. Let's just pile straight in there, shall we? And talk about urethane has probably been the hottest topic in bowling for a number of years, I would suggest. Maybe along with two-handed technique. And in many ways, they probably go, no pun intended, hand in hand. One has helped the other, perhaps. That's maybe something that we've talked about.
It feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think it does. And so, anyway, we saw a week ago or 10 days ago, whatever it was now, that the USBC, the United States Bowling Congress, put out a survey to their membership, various points, and they had just under 21,000 respondents, which is, I would say, pretty decent return.
Obviously, Brunswick as well had been in negotiations or at least talks with USBC for a number of months now, and firmly said that they did not support a ban. I wonder why.
It's no secret, is it?
Yeah,
business.
No, it's no,
business.
Yeah,
they
business.
Like when we would have a little Auckland downstairs.
Yeah,
I can't believe how many things we still sell. And it's not just us. We're not unique in this country, so it is. Of course, it's business, but they do attack it from a sensible angle as well. But yeah,
you think so? You think they think they're going at it in a sensible way?
They've got their research behind the back of their opinion of. And again, stats, so you can read into stats whatever you want, can't you?
Yeah.
The 57% of people said you need change, but 39% of people said don't change anything. But which one do you want to focus on, the 57 or 39? Brunswick will focus on the 39%. Of course they will.
But it's interesting actually because I read that and I sort of did the maths and I was like, actually, around 63% of people don't want urethane banned. Completely, at all.
So almost 2/3 of those respondents are not in favour of a ban completely.
A complete ban.
And that's really what matters. Now, we've already seen some events choose to restrict
PBA, That's where it started off with the PBA bit in.
And then
they made the slight tweak first, and they upped the hardness slightly. So the purple hammer went from the green pin to the pink pin. Where they upped the by a point or two.
I think.
Just make it slightly harder, and then obviously they put in the 78 rule, which is when the black one came out.
Yeah, we also had the couldn't use urethane less than 2 years old for a period.
Yes, that's still in the. Yeah, I went over a couple of years ago to help Tim Mack when he done a junior gold in his pro shop. I wasn't allowed to put anything on. It's annoying. I wasn't allowed to put anything on social media because I was working at school and I'd accrued extra days of doing extra things. I was allowed to have that week off. But I wasn't allowed to tell anyone I'd had the week off. So those are the pictures we're taking. Me taking the picture rather than being in the picture, stuff like that. But it's an amazing thing. But again, that was on the rules of checking off the code, and because it was still EBI balls.
Yeah, so
then with the different codes.
They were
the old coding sort of thing from EBI.
A while back.
So there's definitely a bit of that saying, can I use this one? Oh no, I can't use it. We've got a new one to replace it. Yeah. So punch fuels and a few of those.
So
how
do you think, obviously USBC have said that a complete ban on urethane is probably not likely, but people are in favour of some changes around governance. Do you have any insight onto what that governance may look like in the future, given the conversations?
No. I don't know anything more than probably you do from reading all the stuff. Apart from the Brunswick stance of, and I say Brunswick stance, and yes, I indirectly work for Brunswick. I don't, obviously we don't, but it may be their stance, but it's a stance I agree with.
Yeah.
The problem is where do you stop?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you're going to ban urethane, does that mean you get rid of all the like the Storm Mix spare ball.
Yep.
And so they're urethane. They're not performance urethane, but where there's that line, and every ball's urethane.
And every ball, exactly.
You sprinkle a little bit of something in it, and I think it's defined by absorption rate, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why the new blue was just above that number.
Whatever that is, yeah. So
I think on the scale of things, still like miles away from urethane and much closer to reactive, but just went over that number, which made it. Yeah, it was all absorption within a minute. I can't remember.
And their own ruling and whatever.
They literally took the new rules and made a ball that fit that rule.
Not urethane.
And advertised it amazingly. Like that just
that was a
genius stroke. That was
a bit of a marketing.
new blue.
Yeah.
I mean,
that made me chuckle. That did.
So actually, when I first started, and I went into my little back room, which I won't let you take you into, and we have all the balls that we get sent sample balls ahead of time, so we know what's coming, so we start thinking and budgeting and all the rest. The new blue was actually one of the first I've been bossed off. As soon as I saw it, I said to Jack, that's going to be amazing. Oh my God, that's going to sell so well. And it was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. You can't actually take away from, Hammer and Brunswick that they've made a ball that, regardless of what associations and, governing bodies have tried to do, and pattern designers, going more oil. I mean, when was the last time a pro event was bowled on less than 27 milliball?
Yeah.
Right? Everything that they have done to try and almost take it out of play, it still proves it's just unreal. Like,
I mean,
take it away.
And a little bit, as much as I want to say, purple. There is other urethanes, like the pitch black was amazing.
Yes.
Before that, the naturals and the natural pearl were. I mean, I shot my high set ever over 4 games at Nuneaton when it was old wood using natural pearl.
Mm-hmm.
It's yes. The purple is probably taken it has taken the edge in sales over the pitch black and that, but the pitch black is still unbelievably good. Whether I should be saying that or not as a
I nearly said it's taken the world by storm, but that was probably not the best thing to say.
But again, it's being like you said you want to be. It's honest. I think it doesn't matter what logo's on it. Yes, I'm going to push these ones and try and get people to drill and bowl these ones, but it's no doubting how good other things are out there as well.
I think in recent times, people are aware I've been a national coach for 3 countries as it happens, and been to various events, Europeans and World Championships. And for sure, there is no other ball that matters.
Well,
we're going to actually put a video.
You see the pictures of the ball returns and stuff.
I took one myself from Helsinki in 24, and it was just purple.
You walk along, and it's not because you want to see how many purples; it's because you want to see how many there aren't.
Yeah.
Is anyone playing with resin?
Or not a non-hammer? It tends to be people that can't throw purple because of a deal agreement, or
playing with Black Widow or something, or a bit of flair in the urethane as well. But it's undoubtedly amongst the youth for sure the only ball of choice, especially the lads. And given the fact that I think we might have discussed this on our last episode, that the two-handed versus one-handed split in the lads in Europe under sort of under 19 age group is the tournaments is 75% two-handed, and clearly when you have players with a higher rev rate than those generally with their thumb in the ball, they're going to want to have or look to have or need to have more control of that ball. And as you mentioned earlier about, or what Simon said about the youth not really having the touch and that ability yet, the first choice option is to go to a bowling ball and pick the bowling ball that they know they can control. It's down lane motion. That's effectively what we're talking about here. And when you're playing on, at least 26, 27, the last EYC I think was 30, just over 31 maybe, or EMC, but the volume has just tipped over 30 in the last couple of European events, and that means you need much more surface. And if you have too much surface on a high diff ball with a big core, as a solid reactive would give you, you're going to have a control issue. You're going to have some struggle. So it's just urethane in general is the core, is the choice. But undoubtedly, that ball is phenomenal, and I don't mind saying it. I think it is the greatest bowling ball that's ever been made, and I think that if ever anyone has the, dare I say it, the balls to ban it,
Pun intended.
pun intended, absolutely. I think they're very, 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 very brave, and they're sending a very clear message that what we need to, they're trying to fix a problem, or that would be trying to fix another problem. The problem isn't urethane. The problem isn't the purple hand. The problem is the environment.
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah. I mean,
and that is my honest stance. Sort of not from a Brunswick point of view, that from sales and from our own sales, surely there is a way of taking that option out, or limiting that option to the first game or two. Like, I think that's what Dino's.
Yeah, so
he was all about a lot of people starting with urethane, and then they all very few of them.
You get out of it as soon as you want it disappears.
Apart from maybe the left-handers, which don't have as much transition and change, so they stick at it longer.
Yeah. So Dino Castillo on the 26th of July posted to his Facebook page that I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll just pick out some of the pertinent points. Like, the biggest influences in bowling are PBA bowlers. Our society has trained 90 to 95% of bowlers to start with urethane on every pattern. So the question that you have to ask is it the pattern, is it the oil volume, or is it really urethane? It's certainly an environmental thing. Kettering just come out with a new oil glide. Is that something to, given the name of it?
You would potentially think that. Yeah. I'm not seeing the specs and what it proposes, the purpose of its chemical makeup is, but you would hazard a guess.
I think Jeff on 11th Fame has done an article on that. I haven't seen it yet, but he's referenced he's had a conversation with Kegel around glide, so that info might already be out there somewhere. But it's not. It wasn't on Kegel's website a few days ago. So that will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, whether that is something they're trying to do, help the industry and create a different motion of the ball, or create more skid. Who knows? I think the natural instinct for most pattern designers has been, I'm not saying it's right or wrong necessarily, but it's to go to more volume to try and combat it. But I think
they tried that.
Was it Dino's post that said about cutting off the oil too soon as well, not buffering enough? Therefore, you need to control the end of the pattern. If you can buffer off the end of the pattern a lot more, then maybe the urethane is not as effective for as long.
When you buff, clearly you thin out the end of the pattern, so the end of the pattern disappears quicker. So then you actually effectively create the need for more control in another way. So it's not easy.
The interesting thing is as well is that Dino's been a tour rep on and off the last 20 years, 4 years with Brunswick, and the last 4 years specifically with the Brunswick brand.
Well, before that, representing the company that made the purple number before Brunswick did.
Exactly.
Before they bought him, because he was Ebonite.
Yeah. So. And then he says, for me, urethane traps me, and I'm not sure when to get out of it. And, I question ball selection and release once it's time to change. So he doesn't care what happens. Yeah, at the end of the day. I think he's going to do his job regardless and help the players on the Brunswick brands to achieve what they need to achieve. He doesn't blame anyone or any organisation or manufacturer for this. He's had his take, and he said that we've done the class.
And it may well, he's not just a tour rep as well. He's obviously got a very successful pro shop as well for many years, and a top. I know Dino from years ago from Weber Cups, and been in different places, been at high rollers and stuff in Vegas, and hanging out with Dino and drinking too many tequila and stuff. But comes out drinking. But he's a player as well, and not just this is a tour rep, which kind of like a pro shopy guy that knows all that, but runs a very, very successful pro shop as well. So he's got kind of the all round kind of look at it, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's a viewpoint there.
And yes, he may be employed by Brunswick, but his post, I think, was honest. And
I think it was really honest and quite neutral as well. It was a personal perspective, and ultimately that's why this podcast is here. It's us talking about our views and things that we're concerned about, or really want to celebrate and achieve and stuff. And I've owned a bunch of bad balls and I think it's a phenomenal ball. But I've had to let go of them to make room because the only real tournament I play is Lucky Larson and we needed 78D. So
I think there's an irony currently for those of us maybe been around a lot longer. You might remember this. Maybe my memory's wrong. I seem to remember, was it you or was it someone else who tried to do or did run a plastic ball tournament?
Definitely not one ball tournaments.
Yeah, one ball. So,
especially every team.
But this is what I'm saying is that there used to be a desire. Everyone was saying we just want to, give everyone the same ball. Bowl with one ball.
Holland, wasn't it? Tilburg used to always do a one ball tournament.
Yeah. Right.
I think the one ball tournaments I've done over here were more to do with clearing out old stock, if I'm honest. Of all the overlay, because you got to be able to offer enough to be able to cover the tournament. Yeah. So if you get enough stock to cover it or whatever else.
I seem to remember there was a desire, there was a sort of, let's make it fairer by giving everyone the same ball.
Not junior gold, the other junior one.
I know what you're saying.
My brother went and played it.
We will insert the logo.
A few moments later.
It's not Ball Master. But my little brother went and played it years and years ago before they did this. But now they
produce the ball.
They have, is it one or two balls they have?
Yeah.
That's all you can use. Everyone uses the same ball. Doesn't matter your spot. There's no brand logo on it. That they change around who actually manufactured it for them, whatever else. But they put down brutal patterns as well.
Yeah.
It's a
very low volume sometimes.
Real skill.
8 or 10 mil.
Real skill test event. Masters.
Junior Masters, not Junior Masters. Youth Masters.
Maybe Youth Masters.
We'll say
but anyway, we'll find it. You can use
one of those events.
Do a little voiceover afterwards and make it sense. But that's kind of taking it to that kind of level as well.
We've ended up with that in various tournaments, and people are moaning about it. Yeah. It's like, well, it's fair because everyone's using the same ball. Well, it's fair to a certain extent. I mean, in the youth game, I think it's absolutely fair in the sense that everybody can purchase that, unless they just happen to have a contract with a different ball company. There, when you talk about maybe European men's or women's championships, they're more likely to have, someone like
affiliation
turns up. He's got his Storm, so he doesn't have access to that bowling ball. He had access to the pitch black, and obviously did extremely well with the pitch black.
And the new 78Ds.
78Ds.
So he does love the same.
Not entirely the same, but we have that comparison, I suppose, and I think it's just ironic.
I think Dino referenced lefties and stuff in his comment as well. We don't have as many tiles. Yeah. I mean, the European men's we went to, I think it wasn't Vienna. Wherever it was, I can't remember now. When John Wells played against Jesper in the Masters first round, and John Wells broke the Masters record and lost playing against Jesper, and Jesper was a machine. Yeah. There was you say this feel touch. He absolutely. I think he got something like 790 or something like that for 3 games. It was crazy, but he was nailing it.
Yeah,
and that's not. Yes, that's the ball allowing him to play that part of the lane for us, but that's skills.
He's still not absolutely.
I mean, out of all of I'd say a lot of the 200 players, Jesper is probably going to go down as one of the greatest 200s. I'm a massive Pokemon fan. I've travelled to watch Jesper play, and I've seen him get off a plane from the Mark Holman doubles when he bowled with Kyle. Had to fly overnight to be there in Sweden to play straight away, and he came out the gate and after 2 hours sleep on a plane, literally getting picked up from the airport, driven to the bowl, put his shoes on and bowled. It was just under 800 for 3. It was just he is exceptional at repeating. When you're talking about somebody with a skill like that, the power and the rev rate that they produce, it really doesn't matter what bowling ball is.
I mean, I think they get pushed towards these sort of things because of I think you said earlier, the power and the rotation they generate. They need to control the ball, so therefore this gives them built-in control. They probably could go with some closer pins and different surfaces and certain bowling balls if they weren't allowed to be used. And I guess we started with Dino on that. I think Jesper still would have. Yes, but whether he would have got to the position he is because if he's only ever really thrown urethane, Yeah, the odd reactive ball comes out here and there, but it's few and far between.
If it had never
Maybe never got that far.
would it have been good or not? You don't
in
know.
the first place, you don't. Of course, you don't. But I think from what happens, like you said, from standing behind him, watching him throw the ball, it's unbelievable.
Especially like he's splitting balls to like a tenth.
Yeah, it was. He didn't look, when he played Wales in that head-to-head game. It wasn't that he had the whole lane home up at all. And in fact, I think the next match he didn't break 600.
Right.
So I mean, he knew he was playing against. I mean, Wales, he was doing great, and he was a fantastic player as well. But he just literally, I was like, he's literally. I mean, if you had a shot trace on there, that it'd been in one line. There wouldn't have been any wobble there at all. Any spoken out. It'd have been crazy.
It is.
Why do we think it's that good? Why is it so special?
And why is it so hard to get rid of? Like,
And also, why can't the other manufacturers make something almost exactly the same?
Absolutely.
I know each manufacturer has different base urethane.
Yep.
Whether and I don't know this for fact at all, but kind of a bit more opinion and thinking a bit. When Brunswick bought Ebonite, obviously they had access to all their materials, and they've got their design guys, and a few of them guys come over, and all the cores were able to come over, all the brands and logos. Whether the base material was adjusted a little bit from the Brunswick base material to be able to make the hammer the same way as EBI was making it. I'm guessing it's going to have to have been something like that, because their urethane before the EBI acquisition wasn't much up.
Right.
So it's got to be something in the actual raw material, which I assume, again, from things I've spoken to people, you can take that base material, you put it in different parts of the country, and with some of the brands that have had different factories at different points, they don't pour the same, because they have to travel for the distances, the temperature of the place is different, even though they can't control everything. Just the lorry getting there has travelled for longer with it sitting in the back of the thing. So it's going to put
it's chemistry, which is definitely above my head.
Yeah. I mean, a reactive bond was the first way to a chemistry.
Of course.
Mess up.
Yeah, I think if we get into, for me, the purple hammer effectively, without trying to get into too much detail, perhaps it allows people to effectively have a longer roll face.
Yeah. And
if you have a longer roll face, that means that when you effectively minimise the range of area you hit the head. So as long as if the ball is minimally changing, because even when it's in the roll phase, people, our definition is it's not actually changing direction, but actually it is changing direction, because there's still a core in the ball and it's still not in balance. That's the reality of it, even though we don't see it. The roll phase should only be sort of effectively one rotation of the ball, which is about 2.5, just over 2 feet long. If the roll phase for any other ball is longer than that, we're going to get more deviation of path in that last 2 or 3 feet because it has a bigger core. By definition, more differential in the core means more change of direction, more flare, more change of direction. Therefore, you have a bigger range of where you actually hit the ball, hit the pin. So because that has very low differential, therefore minimal change of direction and potentially over a longer distance, the change of direction is smaller, you get away with it more. That's what I believe people love. They don't necessarily see that.
You can see it as coaches. You watch ball reaction and you can see the ball half down the leg. That's never going to strike.
Yeah.
You sometimes see him always look like the back. It's rolled out so much, got the roll face, so it always just goes backing away. It's going to hit like a wet throw.
Yeah, and because but
even that
longer to roll.
But even that, when it does start to look like it's going to roll out and hit flat, it doesn't.
Exactly, that's the point.
And
it takes longer.
Yeah, but you think, oh, that's going to be a flat.
Every change of direction is a little bit longer, a little bit distance to a little bit longer. And when you have a higher rev rate, you travel that distance a little bit. You have a higher speed with the rev rate. You're going to travel a little bit longer distance in the same time frame. So this is why the two handlers predominantly love it, because they're playing much more with higher speeds, higher rev rates, and it is just phenomenal.
There's no question, is it?
I think bowling. I think there is an argument for saying that it's not necessarily helping our players become, learn the touch or the feel.
There's many different shapes and playing parts of it. I mean, I get going back to watching people bowl.
Yeah.
I watch Belmo play some, and I swear he throws shapes that nobody else can throw. The angles he throws. I think it was at Lucky Larson, one of the first ones. I was just sat behind him for a couple of games watching the angles he's throwing through the front part of the lane, and then the big swooping. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's not really a urethane man.
No.
I think again he uses it when he knows he needs to control stuff, but most of the time he's throwing shapes that no one else can.
In his hands.
And looping the lane, covering most of the time quite a lot of the lane.
Yeah.
But so that kind of goes against the whole kind of thing of. I mean, if he had allowed to throw purple hammer, who knows? But I still think that the way he throws what he does, there'd be this massive uproar when reactive bowls start getting so strong. They started like limiting the core numbers and things like that. And you get it all the time. Trolls online and stuff on posts, putting things like, they should ban reactive bowls. And now it's kind of come full circle. We're going back to we should be throwing urethanes, going back to rubber and plastic. And you get round to that, and then all of a sudden now it's I need to ban urethane.
Yeah. Well, when the actives hit our shores and it was the Excalibur, it was just like no other ball. It was as tacky as you like, and it was just ridiculous. Personally, I couldn't keep a thing on the lane.
I used to remember going into pro shops, and determining which ball I want by the sound it made when we did that. Yeah.
As a result of the Excalibur, and then reactive resin becoming the new thing, we had the exactly same opposite. Like you've just been saying, the exact same arguments. Get rid of reactive.
I got a little bit off topic in that, but the same thing when lanes went plastic and being wood, when twister pins came in. When strings start getting attached to pins,
everybody likes it.
That's
But it's another milestone change that causes massive uproar.
Yeah.
But it's weird that we're going back around to something that's not new.
No,
it's almost come full circle. Do you think that because bowling is quite a unique sport in terms of the age range that you can play at? Yeah, like if we were looking at footballers, their careers are done by the time they're 30. But PBA pros can carry on past 50, well into 60s and 70s.
Into different tours,
So we could potentially have 3, 4, maybe even 5 generations of bowlers competing on the same playing field at the same time. And obviously we know how popular the purple is, especially within Europe amongst the youth players, but we don't see that with the seniors. So do you think it's just the fact that we've got a much bigger pool of potential players and opinions coming in that actually this is a generational ball for under 30, bowlers under the age of 30?
But I think it's not necessarily age, it's probably more to do with rev rate and that sort of shape, which comes hand in hand with younger, so the older bowlers that traditionally grew up in a massively different environment when their bowling was hooking because there was nothing on the lane.
Yeah.
Now they're not going to reinvent the wheel, apart from maybe people like Non-Do. And Non-Do can water you, try and learn all these different things and go and find two-handed and stuff like that. And
still learning, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think it's more down to, I get what you're saying about the age, but yes, we have a massive, big age pool of opinions.
Here's a fun fact for you. Right? So at EYC last year, the top 3 bowling balls that were registered for play was 143 purple pearl urethane hammers, and then there was 109 purple hammers and 38 black 78 Ds. Right? Do you want to know what the next bowling ball number of registered balls was and how many it was?
If you're taking out polyesters, because I'm sure they only check up first ball.
Yeah, so first ball, the closest was 27 balls registered, whereas the purple pearl had 252. So almost 10%. So it's a bloody fantastic ball. We can't get around it.
I mean,
if you know urethane,
those numbers cover the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
And I think basically just over 50% of the girls' boys field was two-handed.
Mm-hmm.
but that's must be 60% of the field. I mean, if there was about, how many players were there? I think there's probably 170 players there altogether. So if they can take 6 each, maybe not that quite that many, but that's a huge proportion.
Yeah, it's not crazy. Isn't it?
You know, it is what it is. I personally, if we're talking about opinion based now, do we ban urethane? My answer is no. Alex?
No.
Mark?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. So there we go.
I mean, yeah. From going back from a Brunswick point of view, obviously when the European Tour started putting the option to putting in the 78D rule, obviously Brunswick didn't like that either. So you notice that a couple of the events weren't on the EBT Tour.
Challenge and
the Ballmaster was the first one of the year. I think they've softened it slightly now, but and the events that weren't backed by Brunswick, put the ban in, the ones that were backed. So it's starting to feel a little bit like it is becoming a little bit businessy and fueled by.
It's a little bit of politics going.
I don't know if it belongs to this all.
I don't know if jealousy is the right word, but you know what I mean. Like that they feel there's unfair balance for their bowlers.
Do you? I mean, you may not have an opinion. It's fine if you don't want to answer this question, but do you think if this USBC survey and this decision that they supposedly are going to come to shortly on whether to ban urethane, everyone knows in the world of bowling it's all about that ball, because if that ball didn't exist, no one would be bothered about urethane. So we know ultimately it's really all about the purple hammer. Do you think, or do you predict perhaps that do you think it could get to a legal point whereby if USBC go, no, we're banning urethane, and therefore everyone's affected?
I honestly don't know.
You don't
I've not heard anything along those lines. I feel that, and again, my opinion, you might find Brunswick's support of certain things would be lessened. Partly because the sales would go down. They'd have a little bit less money to throw around. I mean, not that. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but the Purple Hammer isn't keeping Brunswick in business. But it is a nice big slunk of that little slice of there, because it's not. There's no new research going into it. There's no new materials going into it. It's keeping it. That's the best thing you can do from a vulnerable point of view. Make it for longer. It costs you less money after the more you make of them. It's the new research that costs all the money and the advertising marketing. They don't need to.
It's just going up and up.
They don't need to market that or advertise it. Just keep firing them out.
You've got hundreds.
Everyone else is doing it for you, but
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone else is doing it.
It's a phenomenal bowling ball, and I really enjoy bowling it myself. So, on that note, I think we're pretty much about wrapped up for this episode.
Yeah.
So, if you made it this far, thanks very much, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Only 80% of the people who watch our podcast haven't subscribed yet. So, our target is 500 subscribers. If all of the people on Facebook subscribed, we'd be halfway there. Yeah. So we would.
The more subscribers we get,
I think I might have been one of the first ones to subscribe on your YouTube. I think when I went on, it's appreciate it.
So, but on behalf of both of us, Alex, we really appreciate your time today and your candour and your free.
Thank you for having me on. Keep up the good work. It's good to see a different kind of angle at things, and the more bowling we can talk about, the more hopefully people will learn, and non-bowlers might catch on to a little bit and understand things and come from different angles as quality.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for letting us on.
Cheers, mate.
It's been amazing. Obviously, if these guys are still legal at the moment.
Hashtag still legal.
Hashtag still legal.
That's a penny.
Says on the pens.
Hashtag still legal.
Yeah. And I've also
got purple grip, but I don't know what
purple grip.
Is that
coincidence?
No idea. No. And obviously, if you do want to get your hands on any of these bowling balls, go and see your local pro shop, and they will order them from.
Still in stock.
Yeah. Still in stock. We check the warehouse.
Is it 16s?
Yeah.
To order.
Yeah.
So, there you go. This is No Strings Attached podcast brought to you by MS900. I'm Tristan. That's Mark. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you.
We are done.
Cheers, guys.